Okay, dear students, good evening. How are you? So, my students, we have already started the part second, and part second, for the sake of convenience, we have divided this part into different subsegments, subparts, political, economic, social, and cultural. In political, the first subpart is political expansion, and as you people know, we have to underline the elements of changes. Firstly in political field, then in economic field, then in social field, and then in cultural field. Here we have just tried to develop a scientific method based on the balance between the knowledge of change as well as the informations. For example, the main emphasis should be to underline the elements of changes and what you know as informations. These are the examples of the changes. So whenever you are placing the examples of the changes at the, you can say, proper place as an example of change, so that will give us a complete picture of the change. For example, you are making the statement that the multiplicity of states are the features of post-Maurya period, and then you are just going to the multiplicity of states is the feature of post-Maurya period. That is concept. That is the knowledge of change, because in Maurya period you find that there was the creation of a largest empire of India, that was the Mauryan Empire. But after disintegration of Mauryan Empire, you find and you underline that multiplicity of states became the common feature of the political culture of India. So that is the concept, but simultaneously we will just present the example that there was more than one states, and states could be categorized, states can be categorized into following heads. The states created by foreign invasions, the states which were the successor states of the Maurya Empire, and third one, the states which came into existence as the result of surplus production at a regional level. So in this way you can present an example and there would be the proper mix between the concept and information. So मतलब my students, आप इन शब्दों से घबराना मत. मैं आपको यह बताना चाहता कि देखिए, हमने अपनी सुविधा से पूरे पार्ट 2 को डिफरेंट पार्ट में बांटा है, पॉलिटिकल, राजनीतिक, आर्थिक, सामाजिक और सांस्कृतिक, और फिर हम उसको सब पार्ट में भी डिवाइड कर दिया, और हमारा मेन एम्फेसिस है चेंज यानी परिवर्तन को रेखांकित करने पर. अब जिसको आप इंफॉर्मेशंस कहते हो वो इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है, इंफॉर्मेशंस एग्जाम्पल है. मतलब मैंने आपको एक नया टेक्निक दिया है कि आप यू हैव टू मेक अ प्रॉपर बैलेंस बिटवीन द कॉन्सेप्ट एंड information should not be taken independently from concept, otherwise not retain them. The main challenge is how to retain and how to digest the informations, तो आप अगर इस तरीके से आगे बढ़ेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि you will not find any problem and you can very well solve the problem, and you can apart from you can understanding the things, and apart from developing an understanding, you can accumulate the proper quantity of informations as well. मतलब आपको एक खास क्वांटिटी ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशंस भी मिलता रहेगा. तो इसी तरीके से हम लोग बढ़ रहे हैं. तो पहले हम लोगों ने किस चीज को पकड़ा है? वी हैव जस्ट सिलेक्टेड पॉलिटिकल एक्सपेंशन. हियर आवर मोटिव एंड आवर टारगेट इज टू अंडरलाइन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ स्टेट्स, एम्पायर्स, dynasties and the kings. So we have to go through the long list. A lot of informations we have to gather, but along with the knowledge of change. अब चलिए 5 क्वेश्चंस, लेकिन 5 क्वेश्चंस में मैंने अभी आपको पॉलिटिकल हिस्ट्री से नहीं लाया है, पार्ट 2 से. पार्ट फर्स्ट का ही लास्ट रखा है, क्योंकि इन द प्रीवियस क्लास वी हैव कवर्ड ओनली ऋग्वैदिक पीरियड एंड लेटर वैदिक पीरियड इन पॉलिटिकल एक्सपेंशन. टुडे वी हैव टू मूव फ्रॉम, यू कैन से, this Magdha Empire, the Buddha age, then Maurya period, post-Maurya period, etc. So today the questions are the 5 questions, Which statements are correct about megalithic culture? 1. The megalithic culture was confined to peninsular India only. Confined to peninsular India. Point 2, people of megalithic cultures used iron. Point 3, interestingly, the megalithic people took more interest in building magnificent graves than their houses. Choice A, 1 only. Choice B, 1 and 2 only. Choice C, 2 and 3 only. Choice D, all 1, 2 and 3. Be fast. C. Yes, good. My students are brilliant. I can surmise that they will solve the question. Question number 2, assertion A. The use of bronze became scant during the period of late Harappan cultures. Reason. The craftsmen. Actually, my students, I have used the term late Harappan cultures. This is not a printing mistake, or this is not, you can say, writing mistake. This is the proper word, cultures. Whenever you have to use the term megalithic cultures, late Harappan cultures, because they were the regional cultures and they represented more than one culture. So during the period of late Harappan cultures, reason, the craftsmen skilled in bronze making migrated to other regions. I am now reasoning. Both A and R are correct, and A is the correct explanation of R. Both A and R correct, but A is not the correct explanation of R. C, A is correct, but R is incorrect, and D, A is incorrect, but R is correct. Now we have to find out.
C.
Choice number C is the correct answer. Yes. Yes, my friends. Even these two challenging questions you have solved, quite commendable. Question number 3. Which of the following was not associated with late Harappan culture? Cemetery age culture, B, Jhukar culture, C, Malwa culture, D, red lustrous pottery culture. So there are the 4 choices. You have to select one. Be fast.
इसमें मिक्स आ रहा है A और D.
E and D. Malwa culture. Malwa culture is the, you can say, calculate. That is, this Malwa culture was basically a calculative culture, but not it was bearing the legacy of Harappan civilization. Cemetery age culture is correct. B, Jhukar culture is correct, and red lustrous pottery culture is correct. Simply Malwa culture had to be. Actually, these are the correct. Here the Malwa culture is the answer. Baki, that one is correct. Mr. Uncle, have they selected C or not, some of them?
वेबसाइट पे आ रहे थे, इसमें भी पूछते हैं.
C is the correct answer. Question number 4. Which of the following cultures appeared directly during Iron Age? Ab which of the following cultures directly appeared during Iron Age? Choice A, Ahar culture. Choice B, painted graveware culture, and PGW. And northern black polished ware culture, NBPW. And cemetery age culture. Now, my students, you have to find out which of the following cultures directly appeared during Iron Age, not in pre-Iron Age.
C.
Yes, that is correct. Good. Correct answer. Which statement are correct about statements होना चाहिए. Are correct about the Harappan region, about Harappan religion. 1. There was predominance of female elements in religion. 2, the sacrifice was prevalent under Harappan civilization. Point 3, Harappan religion was related to production. Be fast. Choice A 2 only, choice B 2 and 3 only, choice C 1, 2 only, and choice D all 1, 2 and 3.
D.
D is the correct answer, yes. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, my friends, you have almost solved all the questions. In Malwa culture, some of you have get confused, but no problem at all. Sometimes it happens. But in about your overall performance, I am quite satisfied. Presently, we are going across the topic of prelims part, so I have to deal with the questions of prelims part. Whenever I just come to the cultural part, so that covers the mains and pre both part. Then I have to, you can say, test your ability in the mains questions as well. So till we reach up to the topic of culture, we remain to be confined to prelims questions only. मतलब हम आपके मेंस के क्वेश्चन को भी चाहते हैं कि इक्वली इंप्रूव हो, और आप लोगों ने बहुत कुछ किया भी है, आगे भी और इम्प्रूवमेंट होना है. लेकिन जब हम कल्चर पार्ट में आएंगे तब हम मेंस के क्वेश्चन को एक्सक्लूसिवली डील करेंगे. अब चलिए, once we have to start this political history, once again try to understand my students. In the previous class I have made you clear.
कुछ बच्चे क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 के लेके
Are they having doubt?
क्वेश्चन
1. देखो my students, it has been wrong. It is true that most of the sites were confined to peninsular India as well. It is true. But I have told you that in fact some megalithic sites have to be unearthed from the Karachi region in northwest, Baluchistan region in northwest. In North India, you can say Banda near Allahabad. Then even in Kashmir, Burjhom and Gufa Karal, they were transformed from Neolithic to megalithic directly, you know. Megalithic was basically a culture, a group of people, or you can say a community of people which used to take interest in building the magnificent graveyards. So they were identified with the separate culture that is called megalithic culture. So near Fatehpur Sikri, near you can say Jaipur, Bedside, etc. So some sites were visible there also. It is true that most of the sites were confined to South India. That is true. But here the term is that Neolithic culture was confined to peninsular India. तो ये confined नहीं है तो visible है other sites में भी, लेकिन हाँ most of the sites peninsular India में. Okay, Mr. Ankur, any problem? So that's why I have selected 2 and 3.
Sir, second number question also.
The use of bronze became scant during period of late Harappan cultures. Yes, are you not having any doubt? That is correct. And the craftsmen skilled in bronze making migrated to other regions. This is not the region. The bronze making, it is true that is, but that is a wrong statement. Why? Because exact region behind the use of the bronze, and it was the scant use of bronze, was possibly the import of tin from outside was disrupted. So due to non-availability of tin, because bronze makers, you know, bronze makers actually vanished after the raw material was not available. So it was due to this fact. It is not the fact that they migrated. That's why bronze making became scant, or it discontinued, etc. Due to the migration. Migration was the effect. It was not the cause.
Okay, sir.
My students, you have to cover this area, part 2. In part 2, in the previous class, I have divided this aspect. Now we have a state, empire, dynasty and ruler. We are going across, and you are going across horizontally. So you are not having any confusion, you are moving horizontally. Then Rig Vedic period we have covered. Any doubt? No. If any doubt, you can ask me. Later Vedic, this is Neolithic, Rig Vedic, and then later Vedic we have covered. Then we have just came up to Buddha age. Buddha age. And this Buddha age or Mahajanpad period, this is the period. My students, here you find that this period is marked by the rise of Mahajanpadas. What is difference between Janpada and Mahajanpada? मतलब इस काल में आपको महाजनपद का डेवलपमेंट देखने को मिलता है. जनपदा और महाजनपदा में क्या फर्क है? कोई खास फर्क नहीं. जन है वो बहुत स्मॉलर इकाई है. And basically Jana was having a semi-nomadic character. It was moving from region to region. So you are using the term Jana, that is the highest unit of administration during early Vedic period. I will just make you clear later. Whenever I will deal with the topic like administration, कि जन था वो उसका प्रयोग होता था ऋग वैदिक टाइम में. फिर जो लार्जेस्ट इकाई बना जनपदा, इसका पहला यूज हुआ लेटर वैदिक पीरियड में. अब हो रहा है महाजनपदा, बिकॉज अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ जनपदाज वेर अमालगेमेटेड इनटू महाजनपदाज एज a result of the continuous expansion and conquest by powerful janpadas. So it finally, the different janpadas were just clubbed together under a Mahajanpada. So that is called Mahajanpada. It was just like the state. So in true sense, the state formation became possible during Buddha age. अब here you can see, क्योंकि बड़े बड़े राज्यों का निर्माण हुआ जिसको आप महाजनपद के नाम से जानते हो, और यहां पर आप देखोगे 16 महाजनपदा है. 16 महाजनपदा रीजन वाइज. अब if you people are interested in recalling the name, so I am giving some formula that will help you. You have to try to find out the names of different Mahajanpadas based on alphabets. For example, A. On A alphabets, you will find 3 Mahajanpadas. Avanti, Anga and Asmaka. Avanti, Anga and Asmaka. These were the 3 one. Avanti, Anga and Asmaka. That is the 3 one, you know. On B, another 3 Mahajanpada. On the map, you have to find where is Avanti. So Avanti in Ujjain, that was the, you can see that is Avanti state. That is Avanti. Avanti, Anga. Anga, that is in Bhagalpur. That is Anga. Then you find Asmaka. Asmaka, the southernmost region. Southernmost region in the Mahajanpada, that is by the side of the river Godavari, Asmaka. Then the second one you can say on B, you will not find any name on the B. Then one name in C, Chedi. One name in C, Chedi. Try to find out Chedi. This is just, you can say Chedi, you know, by the side of the central India, you can say Chedi. Tirupuri was possibly the region capital. Chedi. So that is the region. And then after C, no Mahajanpada named on D, then not on E, not on F, there is one G, Gandhara. Gandhara. Yes, Gandhara. So just try to find out Gandhara, observe here. So you find here Gandhara, that is by the side of the river, between river Indus and Jhelum. That is Gandhara states, you know. Takshila is the capital. Gandhara. After G, not on H, not on I, not on J, not H, not I, not J, on K, 4. Kasi, Kosala, Kuru and Kamboja. Kasi, Kosala, Kuru and Kamboja. So just try to find out. that is, you can say, Kasi. Kasi by the side of the river Barambati, Kasi. Koshla by the side of the river Saryu, Kasi, Koshla, and Kuru. Kuru, that is here, in upper part of the upper Gangetic Basin, and Kamboja. Kamboja is the northwestern region, that is in Afghanistan. So Kasi, Koshla, Kuru, and Kamboja. On L you will not find any. On M you find 3. Magad, Malla, and Matsya. Magad, Malla, and Matsya. So Magad. Magadha, here you can say Magdha, Malla. Malla, that is, you can say, in the foothill of Himalayas, it was a republic, Malla. And Matsya. Matsya in presently Jaipur, in Rajasthan, So Magdha, Malla, and Matsya. Then M, or then not O, one P. P, Panchala. In Panchala you find the middle part of this upper Gangetic Basin, Panchala. So Panchal, and the P for Panchala, not on OOP, not Q, not R, on S, Sursen. Sursen was Mathura. Present Mathura, what do you find as Sursen? That is present Mathura. And here you can see Mathura, that is Sursen. Sursen, that is called Sursena. So Mathura, Sursena. And on, not on T, not on U, on V2, Vriji and Vatsa. Virji and Vatsa. So here you find Virji. Vriji, that is Kashi, Koshal, Vriji in Vaishali, and Vatsa. So on Vatsa you can say in Koshambi, Vriji and Vatsa. So they are the total 16 Mahajanpadas, and among the 16 Mahajanpadas, the Magdha had to progress now. Magdha had to progress now, so now you have to read about the expansion of Magdha, and Magdha was the expansion of Magdha led to the first empire in India. जैसे जिसको आप मगध एम्पायर कहते हो, ये मगध एम्पायर इंडिया का फर्स्ट एम्पायर है. That is the first empire of India. How did this Magdha empire progressed? So you will come to know कि basically the history of Magdha empire, actually whenever I have taught you later Vedic period, जब मैंने आपको later Vedic period पढ़ाया था, तो आप याद करिए मैंने आपको किंग परीक्षित, राजा जन्मेजय का नाम पूछा था. फिर हमने प्रवाहन जयवाली, there was a king प्रवाहन जयवाली, you know. And who was प्रवाहन जयवाली? I have just told you कि that was the king of Panchala. So I have mentioned about him. But here, my students, I have to inform you that these kings were simply a mythological names, and we find the name of these kings virtually some religious text or scriptures, you know, but their name cannot be historically identified. So we are lacking here the proper historical evidence. So you can say the first historically proved king and dynasty in Magdha that came with Haryanka dynasty. Haryaka dynasty. So historically this was the first dynasty, and from which source we come to know, so that is called Buddhist text. Buddhist text. And you may also ask me a question, from which source we come to know were the 16 महाजनपदाज, मतलब आपको मैं हरियंका डायनेस्टी के बारे में बता रहा हूं। तो हमें बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट से, हालांकि देखो हमारे पास 3 सोर्स है, बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट है, जैना टेक्स्ट है, पुराना लिटरेचर है। पुराना लिटरेचर ब्राह्मणिक लिटरेचर है। मैं whenever I will teach you the literature part, so I will make you clear. So for that, my friends, you have to wait, because gradually you will be clear. Whenever I will, in culture part, I will deal with the part that is language and literature. So I have to make you familiar with a lot of text, so you will be conceptually clear. So there you will be in touch with, and you will be familiar with the so-called Purana literature. And this Purana literature is definitely, that is Brahmanic literature, and here you find a long list of dynasties, but its historicity is sometimes getting challenged. Here the Buddhist literature, Jaina literature, Purana literature, Buddhist literature gives a more realistic picture, So Hariyanka dynasty, and एक बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट है जिसका नाम है अंगुत्तर निकाया। इन बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट यू विल फाइंड द नेम अंगुत्तर निकाया। So it is from Anguttar Nikaya you come to know about 16 Mahajanpadas, 16 Mahajanpadas. These are the historically correct. I mean, Hariyanka dynasty will come to know about first the Bimbisara. Bimbisara, So he just ruled for a very long period, starting something from 544 BC to 490 BC. Means कि in century BC and century BC, मतलब before, देखो, we are using the term BC and C. I have made you clear. BC before common era, CE common era. Earlier it has been called, and earlier it was called BC. BC means before Christ. But some scholars from, and you can say the people from the other religious sects, so they put a question mark to the authenticity of the name, ki no, BC is not the correct name, and CE, because before Christ, it is going to be the Christ-centric, and it was having some religious tinge, so better to change the name. So we have changed the name, that is called now CE and BC. So Bimbisara, but that was the rule between 544 BC to 490 BC. And he has done a lot of work, A lot of work means, what did he do? So actually, basically, Magdha, he made the first major extension of Magdha Empire. Bimbisara is supposed to have, and is credited to have, married to a Koshalan princess. Her name was Koshla Mahadevi, and she was the sister of Prasenjit. He was the ruler of Koshla. So from Koshla state, Magdha got a region of Kasi as dowry. And here I have to inform you, in fact, there were the 16 Mahajanpadas, but 4 Mahajanpadas were more powerful and major in size. That was Magdha Mahajanpada, Koshla Mahajanpada, Kashi Mahajanpada, and the 4th one, Avanti Mahajanpada. But later, Kasi declined. So Kasi fell a prey to Koshla's imperialism and imperialist expansion. So Kashi became the part of Koshla first. Then Koshla transferred Kasi to Magdha as dowry to Bimbisara, who got married to a Koshalan princess, Koshla Mahadevi. So this incident also proved that कि possibly dowry system started during this period. तो मतलब कि देखो, पहले तो काशी कौशल का पार्ट था, लेकिन कौशल जो राजकुमारी है, प्रिंसेस है, कोशला महादेवी, उसका मैरिज हो गया बिंबिसार के साथ जो मगधा किंग है, तो बिंबिसार को काशी तो डॉरी में ही मिल गया. अब आफ्टर दैट यू कम टू नो कि अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट काशी he made the next one extension. He conquered and annexed Anga Mahajanpada. And where is Anga Mahajanpada? So you are supposed to observe here the modern Bhagalpur. So Magdha even just you can say annexed Kashi and then Anga Mahajanpada. For one thing, the one more credit is given to Bimbisara. He married even a Likshmi princess, Chelanna. and Lakshmi Princess Chelana, and she was from the Vajji Confederacy. Lakshmi was a part of, you can say, Vajji Confederacy, and she was the sister of Chetka. So it might have enhanced the power and prestige of Bimbisara, we can imagine. So this was the first extension under Bimbisara. Then you come to know about Ajasatru. Ajasatru, he ruled between I am not conscious, they have dropped the dates, because the dates are going to be to create extra pressure on your mind. So that's why I have consciously dropped the dates. So you are recalling Ajasatru. Ajasatru का नाम लोगे तो 490 BC से 460 BC तक रूल किया है. And he made the major extension. First of all, Ajasatru was a parricide, means कि he killed his own father Bimbisara. So now, as he was not the son of Kosala Mahadevi, and Kosala Mahadevi died of the, you can say, a sense of separation with her, died of a sense of, you can say, died due to suffering of a sense of separation from her husband. So at this phenomena, Prasenjit was quite upset, so he took back Kasi from Magdha state, as his brother was already assassinated by his son. But now Ajasatru proved slightly more powerful, and he created military pressure over Prasenjit again. So Prasenjit was compelled to get his daughter married once again to Ajasatru, and then once again Prasenjit transferred Kasi to Ajasatru as his dowry now, because now his daughter, अब Ajasatru was technically his son-in-law. मतलब मैंने आपको बताया कि चूंकि अपने फादर को मारकर आया था अजातशत्रु, इसलिए प्रसेनजीत डिस्टर्ब हो गए थे, उनका ब्रदर इन लॉ मारा गया था, उन्हें काशी वापस ले लिया था. लेकिन प्रसेनजीत ने उनके ऊपर प्रेशर क्रिएट करके उनको मजबूर किया कि प्रसेनजीत अपने डॉटर का मैरिज फिर अजातशत्रु के साथ करे, और अजातशत्रु के साथ उसने अपने डॉटर का मैरिज किया, और फिर काशी एक बार अजातशत्रु को डॉरी के रूप में मिल गया. तो प्रॉब्लम वाज सॉल्व फॉर टाइम बीइंग. सो अजातशत्रु got back Kasi. Then Ajasatru was having its greedy glance over Vajji Confederacy. Vajji Confederacy was supposed to be a powerful state in northern India, and it was the confederacy of 8 republics, 8 non-monarchical states. So Ajasatru deputed his Prime Minister Varsakara to create a cleavage among 8 constituent units of Vajji Confederacy, and then this Vajji Confederacy was weakened due to the internal cleavage and internal strife, so making benefit from the situation. After a long effort of nearly 16 years, Ajasatru could defeat and annex the so-called Vajji Confederacy. मतलब जो अजातशत्रु है उसकी निगाह अब वज्जी कॉन्फेडरेसी पर थी, तो उसने अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर वार्साकारा को डिप्यूट किया कि भाई हमें इसको कंकर करना है. तो उसमें है कि 8 नॉन मोनार्कियल स्टेट्स था, तो कोई मोनार्की तो थी नहीं, तो उसके अंदर इसने क्या किया कि बहुत कॉन्शियसली क्लीवेज क्रिएट कर दिया. मतलब उनके अंदर एक तरह से क्या कहोगे, विभाजन का बीज बो दिया, और उसका फायदा उठाकर इट अनेक्स्ड एंड डिफीटेड Vajji Confederacy. So now there was the extension of confederacy. Vajji Confederacy. तो अब now the point is कि after this Vajji Confederacy, now a major extension even north of Ganges, because Vajji Confederacy was situated in north of Ganges. Then finally Ajasatru could even annex Kosala state. How? So Prasenjit was dethroned by his son Vidudhava. Vidudhava was the son of Prasenjit, so he dethroned his father and captured the throne. So Prasenjit, actually being shocked and bereaved hurt, he just fastly moved towards Magdha region, and in order to seek the help from his son-in-law, and finally he reached up to Magdha region, but after coming to Magdha border he died. He could not see his son-in-law, but Ajasatru came to know about the demise of his, you can say, this painful demise of his father-in-law Prasenjit. So then he, first of all, he performed his last sacrifice, cremation, and the last ceremony with fanfare, being the son-in-law, and then he made a claim over the throne of Kosala throne. So he made the claim over the Kosala throne. Vidudhava, when came to know कि now Ajasatru tried to and making a claim over Kosala state as well, so he was upset and he just moved for war against Ajasatru. But he was just, you can say, carrying his army through a river. So unfortunately he was drowned in the river with full army. So as enemy was eliminated without a war, so it has been a cakewalk for Ajasatru to capture कोसला स्टेट. मतलब मैंने आपको बताया कि भाई एक्चुअली फिर कोसला को भी जीत लिया, क्योंकि अजातशत्रु का फादर इन लॉ प्रसेनजीत को उसके अपने बेटे विदुधावा ने उसके थ्रोन से हटा दिया. तो बहुत बिरीव्ड हुए वो और बहुत चिंतित हो और अपने सन इन लॉ के यहाँ हेल्प के लिए वहां से भागे हुए आए. लेकिन जब तक वो मगध पहुंचते तब तक उनका डेथ हो गया. लेकिन अजातशत्रु ने बड़े फैन फेयर के साथ उनका अंतिम संस्कार किया, लास्ट सेरेमनी किया, और तब उसने फिर कोसला स्टेट पर दावा बोल दिया कि हम बीइंग अ सन इन लॉ आई एम हैविंग द क्लेम ओवर द थ्रोन. सो इस बात से विदुधावा अपसेट हुआ और आर्मी लेकर अजातशत्रु को पनिश करने वो आ रहा था, तो रास्ते में एक रिवर में डूबकर मर गया. तो पूरा कोसला स्टेट इसको एकदम केक वॉक की तरह हो गया, कोई युद्ध नहीं करना पड़ा. सो इन दिस वे अजातशत्रु. देन माय स्टूडेंट्स, हियर आई हैव टू इन्फॉर्म यू द मेजर पॉलिटिकल एक्सटेंशन. मतलब एक्चुअली हियर यू हैव टू कीप योर माइंड कि when we were talking about the 16 Mahajanpada, so there were the 14 monarchies and 2 non-monarchical states, you know. 2 non-monarchical states were, one was Malla state, that is a non-monarchical state. Another was Vajji Confederacy. So actually the Kosala state, it was a powerful state, and in the foothill of Himalaya there were nearly 10 non-monarchical states. 10 non-monarchical states. So almost all the non-monarchical states were conquered by Kosala. So when Magdha conquered Kosala, so automatically Magdha could extend in the non-monarchical states. So this was the extension of Magdha. Up now, the last and major extension, not last, major extension had to take place under Shishunaga. So who were the Shishunaga dynasty? Shishunaga was basically, you can say, an officer in charge of Banaras. But for 5 generations in Hanyaka dynasty, you know, कि the son proved the parricide, means कि son used to capture the throne after killing the father. Ajasatru killed his father. The Udain, the son of Ajasatru, killed Ajasatru himself, and it was Udain who transferred his capital from Rajgiri or Grivraj, that is Rajgiri, to Patliputra. Udain brought his capital from Grivraj to Patliputra. Then Udain was killed by his father, killed by his son, and his son killed his father. So in this way 5 generations vanished due to the assassination by their own son. So it created a wide extent discontentment among the people, and gradually they basically looked towards Shishunaga. So Shishunaga came and captured the throne. So there was the foundation of Shishunaga dynasty. So Shishunaga was basically an official. So a major extension had to take place during the period of Shishunaga, because this was the Avanti state. Avanti state is supposed to have equally powerful than Magad, because Avanti was having the access to the same material factor or the material culture. Because one of the reasons behind the success of Magadha Empire was the availability of iron, which could be used for making weapons, as well as the, you know, the availability of copper, and you can say the availability of elephant, because the Magधा could have created a very strong elephant corps or elephant army, or the elephant, you can say, corps, you know. So the same benefit was being reaped by Avanti Mahajanpada as well. So Avanti Mahajanpada was the one of the, you can say, it was just a rival to Magdha Mahajanpada. For your information, at the time of Ajasatru, once Avanti threatened Ajasatru कि we have to invade your capital, and it is said कि Ajasatru had to construct a protective wall around Magdha, or around Grivraj or Rajgiri, in order to protect his capital. And this Avanti Mahajanpada conquered almost all the rest of the states till, you can say, up to Godavari, up to Ashmaka. And so in this way, Avanti had already expanded up to the river Byas. मतलब मैं आपको ये कहना चाहता हूं कि मगध का राइवल अवंती था. अवंती इतना बड़ा राइवल मगध का था कि एक बार कहते हैं कि अवंती स्टेट ने थ्रेटेन किया था मगध को कि हम इन्वेड करेंगे अजातशत्रु के टाइम में. तो अजातशत्रु ने अपने राजगिरी, जो उसका कैपिटल था, उसको में एक प्रोटेक्टिव वॉल बनाया था उसको बचाने के लिए. और अवंती ने बहुत सारे जो बचे हुए महाजनपदास था उसको अवंती जीत चुके थे. तो अवंती का साउथ में अस्मक तक, यानी गोदावरी रिवर तक हो गया था एक्सटेंशन, और नॉर्थ वेस्ट में व्यास रिवर तक. बट इट वॉज शिशुनाग, क्रेडिट शुड बी गिवन टू शिशुनागा, कि he almost broke a rivalry of nearly 100 years, and Shishunaga defeated Avanti, while you can say defeated Avanti state. Chand Pradyut Mahasen, the successor of Chand Pradyut Mahasen, you know. Actually, Chand Pradyut Mahasen was a powerful king of Avanti, and his successor was defeated by Shishunaga. So then Magdha could capture all the regions which had earlier been owned by Avanti state. So अब now creation of a big Magdhan empire, starting from northwest. Northwest means कि starting from the river Byas in northwest to Godavari in south, and at the border of Bengal in east. So you can say it was, or you can say up to Champa in east. So it was the creation of a Magdhan empire, the big Magdhan empire. Now in the series you will find the single one king, that is called Mahapadmananda. Mahapadmananda. Now who is Mahapadmananda? Here I have to inform you कि he was the founder of Nanda dynasty. So even he could carry the extension further. जैसे महापद्मनंद को क्रेडिट दिया जाता है, in Odisha you will find this is the region of Kalinga. So Kalinga was having the important economic and material, or you can say material benefit. Kalinga was having the natural, economic and material benefit. So here you know कि basically as Kalinga was having the better economic and material benefit, you know, so Mahapadmananda was having its greedy glance over Kalinga. And here you have to be informed I have to inform you that before Ashoka, it was Mahapadmananda who conquered Kalinga. Even earlier than Ashoka, it was Mahapadmananda who conquered Kalinga. So in this way, the extension of Magdhan empire became completed. Now we are observing here, that is, you know, this is in northwest. It was the time, my students, some tremors were moving in northwest. In tremors in northwest, you will come to know that is firstly Persian empire, Persian invasion under Darius first. Cyrus and Darius. The Cyrus was the earlier king than Darius. And then Greek invasion under Alexander. Greek invasion under Alexander. My students, here I have to inform you one thing. First of all, be clear. if someone is going to ask you what were the reasons behind the success of Magdhan Empire, you will talk about some material benefit of the Magdhan Empire as well. मतलब कि आप मगध एम्पायर के मतलब जो भौतिक जो लाभ है या भौतिक फायदा है मगधन एम्पायर को, जो उसका मटेरियल फैक्टर है, उस पर भी आपको फोकस करना है. जैसे Magda was having the access to iron, elephant, the better availability of elephant, you can say, the larger iron source, even the copper metal was available in abundance. Apart from that, the Magad was having the access to the wood available in the forest region of Gaya, you know. Then you can also mention about the fact that Magda was having some geographical advantage as well. Its capital was the first capital Rajgriha. First capital Rajgriha was protected through the 5 important mountains, and its second capital Patliputra was protected by you can say a series of rivers, you know, okay, that is Ganga, that is Ganges, that is, you know, Ganges, then Saryu, Shon, and even a Ghagra was going to catch up after some distance. So in this way it was a Jal Durga. It was just like the confluence of rivers. You can say it was the protected through the different rivers. So these were the material factors which going to benefit Magdha. But apart from that, even the diplomatic and military acumen of the Magdhan rulers also played some role. I mean, northwest the tremors appeared. First Cyrus in Darius. So Darius in 516 BCE, because Darius basically the empire of the Persian Empire was lying in West Asia, you know, and this Persian Empire is supposed to be the first global empire. So Cyrus and Darius could have conquered a part of India, that is Takshila was the capital. So my students, 14 Mahajanpadas were subsumed by Magdha within its periphery, and 2 Mahajanpadas in northwest you find, that is called Gandhara and Cambodia. They were subsumed by this so-called Persian Empire first and then Greek Empire. So this Persian Empire, actually Persian Empire ने गांधारा और कंबोजा को निगल लिया. इसका कैपिटल यहाँ पर देखो तक्षशिला पर्शियन एम्पायर के कंट्रोल में आ गया. एंड इट इज सेड दैट कि पर्शियन एम्पायर वाज हैविंग 20 प्रोविंसेस. Their provinces was called Chhatrapi. So this Persian Empire was having 20 Chhatrapis, and even Indian part formed the one Chhatrapi. It formed the 20th of Chhatrapi, you know. And from this Chhatrapi, this Persian Empire used to get nearly a very substantial amount of possibly 260 or 320 talent of gold per annum. So this was the income from this Indian region. But my friends, gradually this Persian Empire disintegrated, and there was the rise of a new empire in Eastern Europe and West Asia. Actually, the root of Persian Empire was in West Asia, what you know as the present Iran. But the root of this Greek Empire, what you can say Alexander's Empire, so that not lay in this region. The root of this Greek Empire lay in Eastern Europe. There is the place that is known as Macedonia. You might have heard the name. मतलब जो ग्रीक एम्पायर का रूट है वो मैकडोनिया में था, और उसका फादर का नाम था फिलिप. तो 336 बीसी तक उसने रूल, 336 बीसी में उसने रूल करना शुरू किया. एंड this Philip conquered a vast empire was created by Philip, and his legacy was taken by Alexander. So Alexander started the wide extent, you can say, expansion in West Asia, and while destroying destroying this Persian Empire or the relics of Persian Empire in West Asia, then Alexander moved to even Central Asia and towards India. After crossing Afghanistan, he came to India. जो अलेक्जेंडर्स इंडिया में आया, तो अलेक्जेंडर्स स्टेड इन इंडिया फॉर 5 months, you know. And firstly he crossed the river, you know, कि that is, oh, okay. मैं स्टूडेंट्स अब चाहे हिंदी का भी डिमांड है, हिंदी में तो मैं बोल ही देता हूं, जहां तक मैं एक बार बीच बीच मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में करता रहूंगा। जो मेरे इंग्लिश वाले बच्चे हैं जिनको हिंदी में सुनना है तो उनका भी मैं कैटर करूंगा, क्योंकि मुझे मेरे इंग्लिश वाले बच्चों को इससे कोई प्रॉब्लम है नहीं, और आई हैव जस्ट ऑलरेडी एश्योर्ड देम कि आई विल जस्ट स्पीक इन इंग्लिश, तो नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल, मैं दोनों लैंग्वेज को कैटर करूंगा। इसमें थोड़ा टाइम मुझे ज्यादा लग जाता है, बट आई एम ट्राइंग एट माई बेस्ट कि यू शुड नॉट फाइंड एनी डिफिकल्टी। मैंने जैसे ये कहा, इतना तो हिंदी में समझ ही गए हो कि पर्शियन एम्पायर वेस्ट एशिया का पहला ग्लोबल एम्पायर था, और उस एम्पायर को पहले साइरस और डेरियस, वो दो ने उसको एक्सटेंड किया था। तो डेरियस आ गया था उत्तर पश्चिम में, तो उत्तर पश्चिम में डेरियस ने, जैसे छत्रपी बोलते हैं, जैसे पर्शियन एम्पायर है तो उसका प्रोविंस को छत्रपी बोलते थे, तो टोटल 28 छत्रपी था, जिसमें इंडियन रीजन 28 छत्रपी था, मतलब जो 20वां छत्रपी था। तो इसी में छत्रपी में से उसको 320 अथवा 360 टैलेंट गोल्ड उसको प्रति वर्ष कर जाता था टैक्स इंडिया से। लेकिन पर्शियन एम्पायर डिसइंटीग्रेट कर गया, सारे एम्पायर थे उनके दिन लद जाते हैं, लद गए। सो वहां पर अब ग्रीक एम्पायर का इमरजेंस हुआ, और जो ग्रीक एम्पायर था वो पहले, सबसे पहले, जैसे उसका रूट था यूनान में, ग्रीस में, वहां पर एक जगह है मैकडोनिया, जिसको मकदुनिया बोलते हो, तो उसका रूलर पहले फिलिप था, जो अलेक्जेंडर का पिता था। फिर अलेक्जेंडर ने उससे कमान लिया, तो एक एम्पायर को तो क्रिएट कर दिया था, ईस्टर्न यूरोप को तो पूरा जीत लिया था अलेक्जेंडर का फादर फिलिप। फिर अलेक्जेंडर ने उसी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए वेस्ट एशिया में जो भी पर्शियन एम्पायर पर्शियन एम्पायर का जो भी बचा हुआ भूभाग था, उस पर अलेक्जेंडर ने कब्जा कर लिया। फिर अलेक्जेंडर वो सेंट्रल एशिया में अफगानिस्तान में गया, और वहां से अलेक्जेंडर मूव टुवर्ड्स इंडिया। सो देन यू कम टू नो कि Alexanders crossed the river Indus first. Between the river Indus and Jhelum, there was a king of Takshila. His name was King Ambhi. So King Ambhi just surrendered without fighting Alexander. So Alexander, after moving from this region, then he moved to the river Jhelum and Chenab. But here, Alexander had to face a very formidable challenge from a local ruler. His name was Porus, you might have heard. मतलब जब वो तक्षशिला क्रॉस किया, जब वो अलेक्जेंडर जब इंडस और झेलम के बीच था, तो तक्षशिला का किंग आम्भी ने उसके सामने सरेंडर कर दिया। फिर अलेक्जेंडर झेलम और चिनाब को, जब झेलम और चिनाब के बीच में था, तो पोरस ने उसे तगड़ा फाइट दे दिया। देन ही मूव टू चिनाब टू रावी। सो बिटवीन चिनाब एंड रावी इट वॉज यंगर पोरस, हिज नेफ्यू। मैंने कहा जाता है कि एल्डर पोरस और यंगर पोरस दो थे, उसका नेफ्यू था, उसने फाइट दिया। लेकिन अलेक्जेंडर फिर वहां से ब्यास रिवर तक आ गया। 5 मंथ्स वो इंडिया में रहा था, ये स्टेट फॉर 5 मंथ्स। एंड इफ अलेक्जेंडर हैड टू इनक्रॉस द रिवर ब्यास, सो ईस्ट ऑफ द रिवर ब्यास वॉज द रीजन ऑफ नंदा डायनेस्टी एंड धनानंदा वॉज द रूलर। सो अलेक्जेंडर सोल्जर्स हैव हर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ फेम or a lot of praise about the power and prestige of this so-called Magadhan Empire. His army, which was already tired of a long war, so it refused to move further. माने अलेक्जेंडर उनको इनकरेज करता रहा, लेकिन उनके सोल्जर्स ने आगे बढ़ने से इनकार कर दिया, कहा कि वी हैव नॉट टू मूव फर्दर। सो अलेक्जेंडर्स वर कंपेल्ड टू रिटर्न फ्रॉम द रीजन, बट रिटर्निंग towards this Indus again, you know, कि he could conquer some republics, some non-monarchical states, उसको कहते हैं non-monarchical states, उसी जो उसको अराजक गणतंत्र हिंदी में बोलते हो। मतलब रिपब्लिक क्यों नहीं कहते हैं, इसकी वजह मैं बताऊंगा कि देखो, जैसे जो रिपब्लिक होती है ना, वो अब हिंदी में कंफर्टेबल है ना वो लोग? मतलब आर यू क्लियर? हिंदी मीडियम वाले जो इंग्लिश वाले हो, आर यू कंफर्टेबल नाउ? जैसे रिपब्लिक, वी आर यूजिंग द रिपब्लिक, रिपब्लिक इज ए पॉजिटिव टर्म, इट शोज दैट कि देयर वाज द popularly elected government, but it was not popularly elected government. In fact, in place of a monarchy, there was a group of elders which was ruling in the region. So as it was not properly the representation of monarchy, rather the group of elders was ruling in the region. So that's why the term republic appears to be, you can say, a very overrated term. this appears to be more overrated. So better word is non-monarchical states. वो अराजक गणतंत्र थे, वहां पर कोई एक किंग नहीं था बल्कि एल्डर्स, अ ग्रुप ऑफ, एक कहोगे कुलीनों का एक समूह शासन करता था, इसलिए उसको गणतंत्र कहना थोड़ा ज्यादा लगता है, बस वही बात है. सो दैट इज द पॉइंट हियर.
रितिका पूछ रही है कि छत्रपी और छत्रप के बारे में.
Chhatrap, actually Chhatrapi is the province and Chhatra was the holder of Chhatrapi. So Chhatrap was an officer and Chhatrapi was the unit of administration. तो दोनों सब चलता है, लेकिन दोनों का मीनिंग अलग अलग होगा.
Rituparna पूछ रही है सर, if monarchy was not present then did those states have democracy?
No. देखो, युद्ध की अनुपस्थिति हमेशा शांति का बोध नहीं कराती. अब इतना समझाने के बाद भी फिर वही बचकाना क्वेश्चन आ गया मेरे सामने. It is really sometimes frustrating for me because you people are doing so well in the multiple choice questions. How can you raise this question? Who has asked this question? Rituparna, have you asked this question? That there was not a monarchy, so it means it was a democracy. No, I have told you that in fact, in place of a monarchy, it was a group of elders. It was oligarchy, not democracy. The better term is oligarchy. In Hindi, that is called कुलीन तंत्र. यह राजतंत्र नहीं था, यह कुलीन तंत्र था. It was not a monarchy. It was rather an oligarchy. An oligarchy means a rule by an elite class. We cannot use this term that was a democracy. Democracy is a very big thing. Democracy means the popular government and the government elected by the people. You cannot expect such a thing at that time. Okay. So, now Alexanders could defeat some non-monarchical states like Sophites, that is called Sabhuti, Ambast. You can say in the northwest a number of republics. You can say Malwa, Yodhya, Chudrakas. These were some non-monarchical states, so they were also defeated. So Alexander defeated the monarchical states and non-monarchical states both. Whenever Alexander was returning from India, so Alexander made a political arrangement. So I have to make you clear what was the political arrangements. He kept, that is called the river Indus. So in the west of river Indus, he put this region under the control of his governor. His name was Philip. In the west of Indus, what was the region? So that was placed under a governor. His name was Philip. In this region, Philip was the governor. And within river Indus and Vyas, the Indus and Jhelum. So this region was placed under King Ambi. And then from Jhelum to Vyas, he placed the region under Porus. So in fact, Alexander made a political arrangement. He placed the region west of Indus under the control of his governor Philip. The region between this Indus and Jhelum under a king, his name was Ambi, that was the ruler of Takshila. And in the east of, from between the, you can say, Jhelum to Vyas under Porus. उसने 3 रीजन में बांटा. पहला रीजन उसने कहा कि इंडस के जो पश्चिम में रीजन है उसमें उसने फिलिप नामक अपने गवर्नर को अपॉइंट कर दिया, और इंडस और झेलम रिवर के बीच के जो पार्ट है उसको उसने उस आम्बी के कमांड में रखा, और झेलम से व्यास नदी के जो रिवर है उसके बीच के पार्ट को उसने किंग पोरस के अधीन. सो इट वाज द अरेंजमेंट एंड अलेक्जेंडर रिटर्न फ्रॉम इंडिया. Alexander went through the land route and he died in 323 BC at a region Babylonia in present Mesopotamia, you know, and then he sent another branch of his army through sea route under Nearchus, and Nearchus just moved through this route. So in this way there was the exit of Alexander after 5 months from India. So this was the Magadhan Empire. Now what is the arrangement you should do? Actually arrangement is that now this is in 6th century BC, what is the region and what is the, I am drawing a map here. This is Magadhan Empire. After Alexander moved from India, so that region King Porus, that region King Ambi, and that region Philip. So this was, you know, Alexander's empire, and this was Magadhan Empire. It was the situation. Then there would be the advent of Mauryas. Then there would be advent of Mauryas, you know. Iranian and Greeks, this was the invasion. You may be familiar with the invasion of Greeks, Macedonia. This was the Macedonia, Alexander's. And then Mesopotamia, Susa in the East, German, Gedrosian, Patala, India he came, Bukhafela, the northwest, you know, Bactria, Arachosia, Gedrosia.
Sasi पूछ रहे sir, what were effects of Alexander's invasion on Indian history?
Shashi, if you have to observe the Alexander's invasion on Indian history, so I have consciously avoided this topic because this is the political history and you are just doing the culture, so hardly will they ask you this question in cultural part. In optional part, this question is important. Alexander's policy, and then you can say about this invasion. Actually, I have to inform you, in fact, Alexander's invasion is now politically, it was supposed to be a peripheral event. It didn't make any major impact on Indian history, because some scholars even tried to prove that Alexander has been called the Great, but in context of India, he does not appear to be, because he remained simply, his invasion was confined to an outside and confined to a peripheral region of northwest, and it could not defeat any important Indian king. And Alexander's invasion was not so much important from political point of view. It can better be approved even on the basis that no contemporary historian of India has mentioned, or no contemporary source of India, not historian, contemporary source of India has mentioned about Alexander's invasion. We come to know about his invasion from Greek source only. मतलब Alexander's invasion political कोई बहुत important घटना नहीं थी, क्योंकि कोई भी हमारा contemporary source Alexander's के invasion के बारे में लिखा तक नहीं है. But culturally it was important. पहली बात तो यह है कि Indian history became clear on the basis of Alexander's historians' account, because Alexander's historians were using the term Cendrocotus for Chandragupta Maurya. So whenever we have to specify the dates of Indian history, so we were slightly confused. But William Jones was a British historian, so he identified the name Cendrocotus with Chandragupta. So dates of Indian history became clear. जैसे चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य की पहचान अगर सेंड्रोकोटस से नहीं हुई होती तो इंडियन हिस्ट्री का ये पार्ट बहुत क्लियर नहीं हो पाता. तो एक तो ये है. दूसरा है कि ग्रीक script and the Greek language came into use in India. Gandhara art, so that is by the Alexander's invasions after Gandhara art in northwest that started, exchange between the Greek culture and Indian culture. तो इसका कल्चरल इम्पैक्ट है, लेकिन उसको हमें यहाँ पर उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. अब नाउ आफ्टर exit of Alexander, firstly who were the Mauryas. They were the Mauryas origin a lot of controversy. The Brahmanic source just tried to prove that they were Sudras, but Buddhist source is just proving they were Kshatriyas, and some Jaina source tried to establish that basically he was the son of a village head of some village, and who were the village head who were just टेमिंग पीकॉक्स. मतलब वो कहते हैं कि भाई ये एक ऐसे मुखिया का बेटा था, मौर्याज थे, जिनके जो मुखिया मोर पालते थे, उसी का नाम इनका मौर्या पड़ा. लेकिन ये सब तो यूजलेस है. देयर ओरिजिन इज द, you can say, has some dispute. In fact, there is a Brahmanic text you might have heard about, Mudra Rakshas of Vishakdatta. So he mentions about the conspiracy hatched out by Chanakya and Chandragupta in northwest. And when Alexander's exited from, after the exit of Alexander from India in northwest, there were some political upheavals, So these political upheavals were created by Chandragupta Maurya and Chanakya. Because in 324 BCE nearly, there was the assassination of Philip, the Greek governor. मतलब 324 BCE के करीब में एक ग्रीक गवर्नर की हत्या हो गई. So it is believed that it was here that Chandragupta Maurya was having some sort of hand, So in this way you can say that Chandragupta Maurya, along with his you can say advisor and the political guru, that was Chanakya. So he tried to conquer the region of northwest first, and making benefit from the upheavals created by the exit of Alexander, he could conquer the region between the river Indus and the river Byas. मतलब रिवर इंडस और ब्यास के बीच के रीजन को सबसे पहले चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य ने इसको कंकर कर लिया. So we can come to know on this basis. Then just
सर तो ही पूछ रहे हैं, व्हाट अबाउट नंदा डायनेस्टी?
Nanda dynasty was, Mahapananda was the founder. His son was Kalashoka, and then the last king was Dhanananda. But Dhanananda is not supposed to be a very competent king, So after actually Chandragupta Maurya, when he conquered northwest region, so then the whole Magdhan empire that was under, you can say, control of Dhanananda. So Chandragupta Maurya, after conquering northwest, then he moved to Patliputra, and along with Chanakya, he uprooted Dhanananda. And it possibly took place in 322 BCE or 20 Nanda dynasty. Then he founded his own dynasty. So there was the capture of Patliputra by Mauryas under Chandragupta Maurya. So there was the foundation of Maurya dynasty in Patliputra, possibly in 322 BC. तो जो नंदा डायनेस्टी था वो अपरूटेड हो गया, और मौर्याज ने उसको रिप्लेस कर दिया. तो अब यहां तक तो आप समझ गए. देखो, मौर्याज कुड क्रिएट द लार्जेस्ट एम्पायर. So how could be this largest empire be created? So here I have to make you clear. Firstly, Chandragupta Maurya could conquer the region between the river Indus and the river Byas. Then at the second one term, the empire of Dhanananda could have captured by Chandragupta Maurya. तो पाटलिपुत्रा पर जब कब्जा किया तो पूरा का पूरा जो नंदा एम्पायर है वो आ गया चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के कंट्रोल में, और नॉर्थ वेस्ट में रिवर और व्यास रिवर के बीच वो कंकर ऑलरेडी था. तो 2 स्टेज तो पूरा हो गया. अब देखिए थर्ड स्टेज. थर्ड स्टेज क्या है? एक्चुअली दिस इज द रिवर इंडस. सो इन फैक्ट after Alexander's death, he was not having any clear-cut successor. So Alexander's empire was divided among his 3 ambitious military commanders. One was Seleucus Nicator. So Seleucus got the empire of Syria. So that was the Seleucus empire. Two other commanders about whom you need not know, but I am giving the information. One was Antigonus Gonatas. So he became the independent ruler of Macedonia. And the third one was Ptolemy. He became the independent ruler of Egypt. But we have nothing to do with Ptolemy or Antigonus Gonatas. We have to concentrate over here Seleucus Nicator, because after coming here and being the, you can say, emperor of this Syrian empire, and he became being the head of Syrian empire, he made a claim over the region of Chandragupta Maurya between the river Indus and the river Vyas on the ground that the Alexanders had already controlled the region up to Vyas. So being the successor of Alexander, he was having the legitimate right over the region between the river Indus and the river Vyas. So it might have created a cleavage between Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus Nicator. So Seleucus Nicator and Chandragupta Maurya picked up a war against each other, and this war might have taken place by the side of the river Indus, possibly in 305 BCE. And in this war, Chandragupta Maurya is supposed to have defeated Seleucus Nicator. Indian source is silent. We come to know about this war from the Greek source, although Greek source didn't mention about the defeat of Seleucus Nicator. But we can surmise, we can you can say conjecture. We can take the idea of this defeat on the basis after this war, Seleucus Nicator submitted to Chandragupta Maurya a vast region of Ariana. He submitted the region of Kabul, Kandhar, Baluchistan, Herat and Baluchistan. The four regions were submitted by Seleucus Nicator to Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya just simply gave 500 elephants as gift to Seleucus Nicator. So even this dealing between Seleucus Nicator and Chandragupta Maurya amply proves that in this war Chandragupta Maurya emerged to be a victor party. मतलब ये बात मैं हिंदी में बता देता हूँ कि एक्चुअली क्या हुआ कि जब अलेक्जेंडर का डेथ हुआ तो उसका कोई सक्सेसर नहीं था, तो उसका एम्पायर उसका 3 कमांडर्स के बीच बट गया। तो उसका एक कमांडर था सेल्यूकस या सेल्यूकस निकेटर, उसका पूरा नाम है। तो उसको सीरिया का एम्पायर मिला। तो सेल्यूकस निकेटर ने आते हुए ही क्लेम किया चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के अगेंस्ट में कि देखो भाई, ऐसा है कि रिवर इंडस से ब्यास तक तो अलेक्जेंडर्स का एम्पायर रहा था, आपने उस पर गलत तरीके से अवैध कब्जा जमाया हुआ है, तो आप उस रीजन को वापस कर दीजिए। इस पर चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य अपसेट हुआ और दोनों के बीच एक वॉर हुआ जिसमें सेल्यूकस हार गया। अब कोई इंडियन सोर्स इस वॉर के बारे में बोलता नहीं, ग्रीक सोर्स ही केवल बोलता है, लेकिन इस वॉर में के बारे में ये नहीं बोलता ग्रीक सोर्स की सेल्यूकस हार गया, लेकिन हमें ये पता चल जाता है क्योंकि उसके बाद सेल्यूकस ने चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य को 4 वास्ट रीजन दिए, जिसमें काबुल का रीजन दिया, कांधार का दिया, हेरात का दिया और बलूचिस्तान का दिया। तो अब इतना बड़ा रीजन बदले में चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य 500 एलिफेंट दिया, तो इट वॉज नॉट अ लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड, यू नो, ये तो कोई बराबरी का सौदा है नहीं, तो इसका मतलब वो हार गया। तो थर्ड, अब देखो, अब चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य का जो बाउंड्री है वो पहुंच गया हिंदू कुश रेंज। अब देखो हिंदू कुश रेंज, फ्रॉम हिंदू कुश रेंज अप टू रिवर गोदावरी, सो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य एम्पायर अब and in East Bengal up to Bengal. अब now question arises कि who has brought the boundary? Who has brought the boundary from river Godavari to Brahmagiri in Karnataka? Either Chandragupta Maurya or his son or successor Bindusara. Because in some other source we come to know about Bindusara. For example, Lama Taranath. He was a Buddhist monk of 16th century. He made the claim that actually the boundary of Chandragupta Maurya from the river Godavari to Brahmagiri the credit should be given to Bindusara because he made a statement कि it was Bindusara who conquered the land between the two seas. Two seas means कि Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. इस हिसाब ये बिंदुसार को चला जाता है. बट इवन मोस्ट ऑफ द हिस्टोरियंस आर गिविंग दिस क्रेडिट टू even this credit to चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य कि possibly it was चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य who conquered the region. तो हम लोग भी मानकर चलते हैं कि चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य ने ही जीता. जैसे देखो अब 3 टर्न का तो आपने एक्सपेंशन देख लिया. पहला टर्न नॉर्थ वेस्ट में रिवर इंडस टू ब्यास, सेकेंड टर्न पूरे धनानंद को अपरूट करके पूरा मगधन इंपायर, थर्ड टर्न रिवर इंडस से हिंदुकुश रेंज एंड फोर्थ टर्न गोदावरी से लेकर ब्रह्मगिरी तक. तो ये चारों टर्न में चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य ने इतना बड़ा एम्पायर बनाया. अब चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य का डेथ पॉसिबली 322 BCE से 298 BCE में हो गया. तो हिज सक्सेसर वाज बिंदुसारा. बिंदुसारा वाज हिज सक्सेसर. बिंदुसारा who ruled between 298 BC to 273 BC. अब under Bindusara you will hardly find any political expansion because Chandragupta Maurya already did such a vast expansion, So Bindusara didn't do any sort of expansion, but Bindusara maintained his diplomatic relations with the state of Syria and successor of Seleucus. Successor of Seleucus, कि his successor of Seleucus was Antiochus the First. Antiochus the First was the successor of Seleucus. So Bindusara maintained the diplomatic relations with him. एक बात मैं और बताऊं कि चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य at the time of Chandragupta Maurya, as Seleucus Nicator, as the ambassador of Seleucus, it was Megasthenes who came to his court, So like in the same manner or the likewise, at the time of Bindusara, it was the son of, you can say, Seleucus Nicator. It was Antiochus the First who sent his ambassador, and the name of his ambassador was Dimachus. It was an ambassador sent by Antiochus the First. मतलब मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि मेगास्थनीस सेल्यूकस के एम्बेसडर के रूप में आता है चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के कोर्ट में, और सेल्यूकस का सक्सेसर हुआ एंटियोकस द फर्स्ट, तो उसका एम्बेसडर बनकर डायमेकस आया था बिंदुसार के कोर्ट में. और एक बात और भी है कि बिंदुसार इज गिवन द क्रेडिट, हमने क्रेडिट नहीं, नॉट सॉरी क्रेडिट, बट बिंदुसार इज सपोज टू हैव डिमांडेड 3 थिंग्स फ्रॉम द सीरियन मोनार्क. दैट वाज एंटियोकस द फर्स्ट. कहा कि एक सोफिस्ट, एक फिलोसोफर भेज दीजिए हमारे यहाँ. दूसरा कहा कि प्लीज सेंड मी द बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ वाइन. एंड तीसरा उसने कहा अंजीर, जिसको आप क्या बोलते हो, दैट वाज ए ड्राई फ्रूट्स. तो 3 चीजें उसने मांगी. तो 2 चीजें तो एंटियोकस फर्स्ट ने भेज दिया, लेकिन फिलोसोफर के बारे में कहा कि नो, in our empire the people are independent, free, so we are not having any right over them and we cannot send anyone to your court. तो फिलोसोफर को भेजने से इनकार कर दिया. कई बार प्रिलिम्स में पूछते हैं कि सीरिया के मोनार्क से किस इंडियन किंग ने 3 चीजें मांगी थी, तो बिंदुसारा हो जाएगा. देन कम द टर्न ऑफ अशोका. अब टाइम पीरियड ऑफ अशोका इज 269 to 232 BCE. अब व्हाई देयर द टाइम लैग ऑफ 4 years. The time of the death of Bindusara is 273 BC and the beginning of the rule of Ashoka is 232 BC. So now the question arises कि why is this time lag? ये time lag क्यों है ये 4 years का? So it is due to the fact that कि Ashoka might have fight the war of succession at that time, war of succession. Here my point is कि अकॉर्डिंग टू श्रीलंकन क्रॉनिकल्स, जैसे आपको मैं बताऊं कि बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट का जो फाइनल कंपाइलेशन हुआ था, पहला कंपाइलेशन श्रीलंका में ही हुआ था, मतलब पहला जो रिटन रूप दिया गया था। और 4th और 5th सेंचुरी में श्रीलंका में 2 टेक्स्ट लिखे गए, 2 एपिकल टेक्स्ट थे जो महाकाव्यात्मक थे। सो दिस 2 एपिकल टेक्स्ट वर दीपवंसा एंड महावंसा। So Mahavamsa has mentioned कि Ashoka has killed his 99 brothers and threw them into the well after killing them. But it is simply exaggeration. There was some problem in his succession, and possibly the nearest rival was Susima, against whom the Ashoka might have fought. But it does not mean that कि he assassinated his 99 brothers. It is simply an exaggeration. मतलब ऐसा कहना कि अशोक ने अपने 100 भाइयों को मार डाला, ये एक तरह से ज्यादा है, ऐसा था नहीं। So basically Ashoka became the emperor. अब what was the policy of Ashoka, the policy of Dhamma of Ashoka, and how did Ashoka conduct his policy of Dhamma? So I will discuss this aspect whenever I will teach you cultural part. This is simply a political history. मतलब अशोका ने अपने धर्म नीति को कैसे संचालन किया, ये मैं कल्चर वाले पार्ट में पढ़ाऊंगा, और ये आपका केवल और केवल पॉलिटिकल हिस्ट्री है। तो हियर आई हैव टू सिंपली फोकस ओवर द पॉलिटिकल एक्सपेंशन। सो माय स्टूडेंट्स, अब यू फाइंड दैट कि द लार्जेस्ट एम्पायर इन एंशिएंट इंडिया दैट वाज क्रिएटेड, बट द होल एम्पायर वाज क्रिएटेड बाय चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य हिमसेल्फ, यू नो। Bindusar possibly didn't, in spite of the fact that some credit is given for the extension in peninsular India, but even that is not, you can say, without dispute. तो अब बिंदुसार को भी क्रेडिट कम ही मिल पाता है। अशोका ने तो बस एक ही एक्सटेंशन किया। अशोका सिंपली एडॉप्टेड मिलिट्री मीन्स एट हिज 9th regnal year, मतलब अपने शासन के 9वें वर्ष में he is said to have conquered Kalinga, this region. अब Kalinga had already been conquered by, you know, Mahapadnanda earlier, but possibly during the intermediary period, this Kalinga might have got free. So Ashoka had to conquer it again, perceiving its economic and strategic importance. मैंने अशोका ने इसके सामरिक और आर्थिक महत्व को देखते हुए इसको दोबारा जीत लिया। But after that, Ashoka discarded the policy of war and he started to follow the policy of, you can say, Dham Ghosha in place of Bheri Ghosha. Means in place of war cry, he started to pronounce the Dharma cry. So in this way, you know कि अशोका ने उस पॉलिसी को छोड़ दिया। एंड वन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग अबाउट अशोका नाउ, अशोका इज बीइंग री-इवैल्यूएटेड, तो इट इज बिलीव दैट कि इन प्लेस ऑफ making extension, because up to the period of Ashoka, the Mauryan Empire was already having almost a continental size, although India was a subcontinent, but this Mauryan Empire appeared to have a continental size. So Ashoka now discarded the policy of further extension. Rather, Ashoka preferred the policy of consolidation of the conquered regions. मतलब उसने किसी नए क्षेत्र को जीतने के बजाय अशोक ने जीते गए क्षेत्र के संगठन पर विशेष बल दिया। एंड इवन हिज पॉलिसी ऑफ धम्मा शुड बी फॉलोड एंड अंडरस्टूड इन दिस कंटेक्स्ट, माय स्टूडेंट्स। सो अब नाउ दिस इज ऑल अबाउट मौर्याज एंड आई हैव टू कैरी दिस डिस्कशन टुमारो। एंड ये पॉलिटिकल हिस्ट्री में थोड़ा सा टाइम लगता है, यू हैव टू गो थ्रू करना। तो मैं आई विल जस्ट अपीयर विद द 5 क्वेश्चंस टुमारो एंड then I have to move further in this segment. So I am stopping here. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, my students? कोई question?
Yes.
Okay है? Okay, my student. Thank you very much. Good night.